Namaste devotees and Jai Sita Ram. I'd like to welcome each and every one of you to our Sunday morning satsang this beautiful March 14th, 2021. Before we commence with our service for today, devotees, I ask that you all join together with me as we sing this beautiful bhajan as we begin with our service for today. स्वागत सब भजन इस मंदिर हो, भक्ति की स्वाति की धार, सुंदर सुमधुर गान हमारो, रंजन सब नर नार। ईश सगुण निर्गुण विनाशी, माता पिता रुयार। ईश सगुण निर्गुण विनाशी, माता पिता रुयार। तोर माये हम वास्त सदाही, तोर भाई हम वास्त सदाही, तार हमें संसार। स्वागत सब भजन इस मंदिर हो, भक्ति की स्वाति की धार, सुंदर सुमधुर गान हमारो, रंजन सब नर नार। सनातन धर्म राम राम भावे, वेद प्रकाश अलकार। सनातन धर्म राम राम भावे, वेद प्रकाश अलकार। कन्न पखंड होतल कावे, कन्न पखंड होतल खावे, ज्ञान जगत उजियार। स्वागत सब भजन इस मंदिर हो, भक्ति की स्वाति की धार, सुंदर सुमधुर गान हमारो, रंजन सब नर नार। तीर्थ माया यहाँ मोत लगावे, पुण्य यहाँ पर सार। तीर्थ माया यहाँ मोत लगावे, पुण्य यहाँ पर सार। संगति संतन नीम चलावे, संगति संतन नीम चलावे, शोभन सब व्यवहार। स्वागत सब भजन इस मंदिर हो, भक्ति की स्वाति की धार, सुंदर सुमधुर गान हमारो, रंजन सब नर नार। रंजन सब नर नार, रंजन सब नर नार। At this time, devotees, I ask that you all join together with me. Go ahead and clasp your hands and close your eyes. And as you're focusing, take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, relax your shoulders, relax your spine, relax your neck, relax your head. Focus on your breathing. And at this time, devotees, I ask that you make sure that you're very relaxed. Take a form of Bhagwan in your mind that is most pleasing to you. Focus on that form and join together with me as we chant these opening prayers. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnata Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Ishavasyam Miram Sarvam Yatkincha Jagatyam Jagat Tena Tyaktena Bhunjita Magrudha Kasya Svidhanam Om Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahavedyam Karavavahe Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahe Hari Om Shanti 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 Hari Om. At this time, devotees, ask that you join together with me as we all chant the most powerful Gayatri Mantra. Magakshi Uredi Akshari Brahmawari Gayatri Jagat Matar Vishwayoni Namostute Om Bhurim Huaswa Tatsavitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yonah Prachodayat Om Bhurim Huaswa Tatsavitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yonah Prachodayat Om Bhurim Huaswa Tatsavitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yonah Prachodayat Hariom Shanti 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 Hariom Prem Sivaro Gayatri Mata Ki Jai. As we continue with our prayers for today, we offer obediences to that remover and destroyer of all obstacles in our life and in this universe. We join together as we offer prayers to Lord Ganesh. Om Shri Ganganapate Namaha. Om Yajananam Bhudaganadi Sevitam Kapita Jambu Palacharam Akshanam Om Asutam Shoka Vinashakarakam Namami Viganeshwara Parapankajam Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirviganam Kurume Deva Sarvakarishu Sarvada Om Raksha Raksha Gana Raksha Rakshatre Lokya Rakshatar Bhaktanam Bhayam Karta Trata Bhava Bhavaranavar Om Shriman Mahaganadipate Namah Prem Sivalo Ganesh Bhavane Ki Jai. As we continue on with our prayers, devotees, I ask that you join together with me as we offer obediences to that universal mother and that destroyer of all evils in our life. As we offer prayers to Adi Shakti, Durga Mata. Om Mahadurgaye Namah. Om Jayanti Mangala Kali Bhadrakali Kapalini Durga Kshama Shiva Dhatri Swaha Swadha Namostute Jai Dvam Devi Chamunde Jai Kotardeni Hardini Jai Sarvagate Devi Kali Ratri Namostute Yadevi Sarvamuteshu Vishnu Mahiti Shabnita Namastasye 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 Namo Namah Yadevi Sarvabhuteshu Buddhirupena Samstita Namastasye 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 Namo Namah Devi Sarvabhuteshu Lakshmi Rupena Samstita Namastasye 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 Namo Namah Devi Sarvabhuteshu Shakti Rupena Samstita Namastasye, Namastasye, Namastasye Namo Namah Devi Sarvabhuteshu Shraddha Rupena Samstita Namastasye, Namastasye, Namastasye Namo Namah Devi Sarvabhuteshu Shanti Rupena Samstita Namastasye, Namastasye, Namastasye Namo Namah Devi Sarvabhuteshu Pushni Rupena Samstita Namastasye, Namastasye, Namastasye Namo Namah Devi Sarvabhuteshu Daya Rupena Samstita Namastasye, Namastasye, Namastasye Namo Namah Devi Sarvabhuteshu Matri Rupena Samstita Namastasye, Namastasye, Namastasye Namo Namah. As we pray to Mother Durga, we say, O Durga Mata, Thou art the supporter of all, and we, your children, worship you in your many forms. O Ma, we see you as Buddhi, wisdom, Lakshmi, prosperity, Shakti, energy, Shraddha, faith, Shanti, peace, Tushti, contentment, and Daya, compassion. And as we pray to you, O Ma, Namastasye, 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 Namo Namaha. As we continue with our prayers, devotees, I ask that we join together as we chant. Dehi Sambhagyam Narogyam Dehi Me Paramam Sukham Rupam Dehi Jayam Dehi Yasho Dehi Vasho Jahi Om Prem Svarvarin Shakti Durga Mata Ki Jai. At this time, devotees, I ask that you join together with me as we offer prayers to the most influential beings in our life. As we offer prayers to the Navgraha Devata, also referred to known as the 9 planets. Om Navgraha Devataye Namaha. Murharis Tripura Tamari Balo Shashi Bhumi Suto Buddhascha Guruscha Shukraha Shani Rahu Kitoa Sarvengraha Shanti Ram Bhavantu Sarvengraha Shanti Ram Bhavantu. As we continue with our prayers to the Navgraha Devata, we take today to focus some time on that being that exists in the form of the sun, that sustainer of all life and energy on this planet, as we offer prayers to Surya Ram. Om Suryaya Namah 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 Adineva Namastubhyam Prasiddha Mama Bhashkaram Divakar Namastubhyam Prabhakar Namostute Suryaya Namah Suryaya Namah Suryaya Namah Suryaya Namah. Om Prem Navgraha Devata Ki Jai. Prem Surya Narayana Bhagavan Ki Jai. Devotees, we continue with our prayers today and offering obediences to that sustainer of all things dharmic and all things righteous in this universe, as we offer prayers to Lord Vishnu. Om Shri Vishnu Namaha. Om Shantakaram Bhujangashayanam Padmanabham Surisham Vishwabharam Gaganem Sadrisham Meghavarnam Shubhangam Om Lakshmi Katam Kamalanayanam Yogi Bhiradhyana Gamyam Vande Vishnu Bhavaya Haram Sarvaloki Ganatam Om Sashankha Chakram Sakiritha Kundalam Sapita Vastram Sarasirubhekshanam Sahara Akshastal Shubhikostu Bhashriyam Namami Vishnu Shirasa Chaturabhujam Namami Vishnu Shirasa Chaturabhujam. Prem se Bolo Vishnu Bhagwan Ki Jai. Devotees, for those of you who are able to join us this past Thursday for our Mahashivratri Puja, we want to thank each and every one of you for being there to support us. And for those of you who watch the service later on too, we thank you for your continued support. But at this time, devotees, if you never got that chance to focus on Lord Shiva, I ask that you join together with me. Take some time, clear your mind. Focus on that beautiful form of Lord Shiva, or of the Shiva Lingam, as we offer prayers to Lord Shiva. Santam Hirdayardune Bhavam Bhavani Sahitam Namami Bhavam Bhavani Sahitam Namami. Om Shiva
Shobhitalingam Niramalabhasidashobhitalingam Janamajadukha Vinashakalingam Tat Pranamami Sada Shivalingam Tat Pranamami Sada Shivalingam Devamuni Praroarjitalingam Kamataham Karunakaranlingam Ravanadharpa Vinashanalingam Tat Pranamami Sada Shivalingam Tat Pranamami Sada Shivalingam Sarvasubhandhi Sulepitalingam Buddhi Vivardhana Karanalingam Siddhasura Suravandhitalingam Tat Pranamami Sada Shivalingam Tat Pranamami Sada Shivalingam Kanakamahamani Bhushitalingam Panipati Vishtita Shobhitalingam Dhakshasuyajna Vinashanalingam Tat Pranamami Sada Shivalingam Tat Pranamami Sada Shivalingam Kumkuma Chandanalepitalingam Panghajahara Sushobhitalingam Sanchita Papa Vinashanalingam Tat Pranamami Sada Shivalingam Tat Pranamami Sada Shivalingam Devaghanarchita Sevitalingam Bhaivarha Bhakti Bhirevachalingam Dinakara Koti Prabhakaralingam Tat Pranamami Sada Shivalingam Tat Pranamami Sada Shivalingam Ashtaralo Pariveshnitalingam Sarva Samudha Bhavakaranalingam Ashtadharidra Vinashitalingam Tat Pranamami Sada Shivalingam Tat Pranamami Sada Shivalingam Suraguru Suravara Pujitalingam Suravana Pushpa Sararchitalingam Paramatma Paratakalingam Tat Pranamami Sada Shivalingam Tat Pranamami Sada Shivalingam Tat Pranamami Sada Shivalingam Om Lingashtakam Nidam Punyam Ayahapati Shiva Sannidhau Shivalokamawapunoti Shivena Sahamodati Om Namah Shivaya.
Devotees, we offer this next prayer for all those suffering from various illnesses, diseases, injuries, and ailments. We ask that they may have a fast, speedy, and full recovery. We also offer a prayer for those transitioning from this world to the next. May the passage be a smooth and tranquil.
Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Suhantim Pushti Vardhanam Urvarokamiva Bandhanat Mrityurmukshyo Mamrutat Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Suhantim Pushti Vardhanam Urvarokamiva Bandhanat Mrityurmukshyo Mamrutat Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Suhantim Pushti Vardhanam Urvarokamiva Bandhanat Mrityurmukshyo Mamrutat Om Gangadapataye Namaha Om Kartikeya Namaha Om Nandishwaraya Namaha Om Vasukiye Namaha Om Shri Samsadha Shivaya Namaha. प्रेम से बोलो शिव शंकर भगवान की जय।
Devotees, for those of us who have a guru, we offer a prayer to our guru. If not, then I ask that you take the deva of your choosing in your mind. Worship them as your universal guru as we join together in prayer. Om Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Deva Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Dhyana Moolam Guru Murti Puja Moolam Guru Param Mantra Moolam Guru Vakyam Moksha Moolam Guru Kripa Prem se Guru Guru Deo Ki Jai. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama 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 Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Devotees, last week when we were reading through the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, we ended on chapter 12, where in verses 18, 19, and 20, Bhagwan Shri Krishna tells Arjuna very specifically, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama Shri Krishna Bhagavan Uvacha Sama Satra Chamitre Cha Tata Mana Pamanayo Sito Stasu Kadhu Kesu Sama Sanghara Vivara Jita Tulya Ninda Stuti Ramani Samtustoye Nakena Chit Anikita Stira Matir Bhakti Man Me Priyoranara Ye Judharam Yam Ritundam Yatoktam Paryupasate Shraddhana Mad Parama Bhaktasteti Vame Priya Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. So as we ended on that final part of chapter 12, devotees, Bhagwan Shri Krishna tells Arjuna in verses 18, 19, and 20 of chapter 12, being blessed with my bhakti, with my devotion, he who looks equally upon friends and enemies, again, having that equal vision, seeing everybody as equal, who is equiposed in honor and dishonor, heat and cold, joy and anguish, praise and criticism, who is free from unfavorable association, who practices silence by controlling his speech, who remains satisfied with whatever comes to him, who is without attachment to his place of residence, and whose intelligence is firmly fixed. Such a bhakta, such a devotee is naturally dear to me. Those who follow this imperishable path of devotional service, O Arjuna, and who completely engage themselves with faith, making me the supreme goal, are very, very dear to me. So he's talking about people who are really balanced in life. It doesn't matter whether it's fear or happiness, anger or sadness, doesn't matter whether it is honor or dishonor. Somebody who controls their senses, controls their mind, and has faith in Bhagwan, that person is dear to Bhagwan. That person will achieve Bhagwan. So of course the entire time, Arjuna has been listening. He's heard everything that Bhagwan Shri Krishna says. But then he has some questions about that human, that person who is equiposed, who's balanced in life, and how that person can exist throughout life. So in chapter 13, he really digs in and tries to understand a little bit more about this kind of person, the thing that goes on around them, the thing that goes around us, and how differently we can express ourselves. So at the very beginning of chapter 13, devotees, Arjuna poses a question to Bhagavan Shri Krishna. He asks for more information. He looks at Bhagavan Shri Krishna and states, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, 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 Shri Krishna Arjuna Uvacha Prakriti Purasam Cheva Kshetram Kshetra Janam Iva Cha Itad Veditum Ichchami Jnanam Jneyam Chakesava Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Arjuna looks at Bhagavan Shri Krishna. He states, Okay, Sawa. Another name for Bhagavan Shri Krishna. Okay, Sawa. I would like to understand Prakriti, Purusa, Kshetra, and Kshetrana, Jnana, and Jneya. So what are all these things? He's asking to understand each one of these things. So he says, what's Prakriti? What is Prakriti? Prakriti means nature. He wants to know what is Purusa. Who is the enjoyer? Kshetra, what is the field? Kshetrajna, the knower of the field. Who is that person that knows the field? Jnana, what is knowledge? And Jneya, the object of knowledge. So again, Prakriti, the nature. Purusa, the enjoyer. Kshetra, the field. Kshetrajna, the knower of the field. Jnana, knowledge. And Jneya, the object of knowledge. What are all of these things? I want to understand these a little bit more because we've talked about these people. So how do I understand nature? How do I understand what a person who enjoys everything is? How do I understand the field? What is the field? Is he talking about a metaphysical field or a real field? What is the knower of the field? How does that person know about the field? And what is knowledge? And what is the object of knowledge? So he's asking all these questions, all these specific details. So Bhagavan Shri Krishna goes on to state to Arjuna and answer his questions. He begins to describe each one of these things in detail. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, 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 Shri Krishna Bhagavan Uvacha Idam Sari Ram Kaunteya Kshetram Iti Abhidhiyate Ita Yuvetitam Prahu Kshetrajna Iti Dharavita Kshetracham Chapi Mam Vidhi Sarvakshetre Subharata Kshetraste Rajnayorajnanam Yathajnanam Matam Mama Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. So Bhagavan Shri Krishna goes on to start to explain, and he doesn't go in the same order that Arjuna asked. He doesn't start with Prakriti, nature. Instead, Bhagavan Shri Krishna says, O Kaunteya. He starts with the field. This body is known as Kshetra. Kshetra. This is the field. My body is the field. And the one who knows this body is called Kshetrajana, the knower of the field. By those endowed with knowledge of Kshetra and Kshetrajana. So, when he says the body is the field, and one who knows the body is called the knower of the field, he's not talking about a doctor necessarily. Yes, a doctor knows the body. A doctor knows the body. But who knows the body the best? Who knows your body the best? that's going to be you. So he says, this body that we have, this is our field. And the one who knows about that body, they are the knower of the field. O Bharata, know me alone to be the knower and kshetras, the knower in bodies. The knowledge of the body as kshetra and the jiva and ishvara as kshetrajna is certainly true knowledge in my opinion. So the jiva and the ishvara, that's the knowledge of the body. So what is contained within the body? The body, remember, is the field. And the person who knows the body is the knower of the field. So what do we know true to be about all fields? What do we know to be true about all fields? The jiva and the ishvara. It means that within every single field, there's one thing that's always going to be the same, at least. One thing that's going to be the same. And that one thing is that each and every field, each and every body contains a spark of God. It contains something glorious, something wonderful. So the knower of the body doesn't just know that the heart beats, doesn't know what a vein versus an artery is, doesn't know what a tendon versus a bone versus a muscle is. The knower of the body knows that within each and every person, there exists a spark of God. There exists a good. There exists a beautiful nature. Now again, he hasn't used the word nature yet. But I want you to think about everybody's soul having a field. And in that field, there's a nice ball of light. And that ball of light is that spark of Bhagwan. Now, we've talked about this in previous chapters. You can know that there's a field, right? There's a field in every person. This body is the field. But the knower of the field knows that each jiva has an ishvara, has some sort of true knowledge that dictates that there's a spark of God inside each and every person. So that's how he starts off. He says that know that your body is the field, and know that somebody who knows about that field, that's the person who's known as kshetrajna, the knower of the field. Bhagavan Shri Krishna goes on further to state in verses 4 and 5 of chapter 13. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Tatsaitam Yachayad Rikcham Yanvikari Yataschayat Sachayo Yat Prabhavascha Tata Samasena Mishru Risi Bhirabahuna Gitam Chando Bhirve Vidhai Prata Brahma Sutra Parischeva Hetu Madhirve Nischite Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Bhagavan Shri Krishna goes on to tell Arjuna a little further that here for me, a brief description of that kshetra, that field, its characteristics and transformations, why and from who it has come into existence, and what the swarupa, that nature, that truth and influence of the kshetrajna is. So the knowledge, where does that knowledge come from? The tattva of kshetra and kshetrajna has been explained in several different ways by the rishis in numerous Vedic literatures, and it is sung with a perfect logic and definitive conclusion in the Brahma's Uttara. So now he's saying that your body is the field. One who knows the field is a kshetrajna. I'm now going to tell you why it exists, how it's come into existence. He goes on to say further in verses 6 and 7 to Arjuna. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Maha, Mahabhutanyaham Dharo, Buddhir Ayatam Evacha, Indrayani Jasekam Cha, Panchachandreya Gocharam, Ichchadvesa Sukham Dhukam, Sanghatas Chetana Driti, Etakshetram Samasena, Savikaram Udharitam,
Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Chapter 13, devotees, is very fast because Bhagavan Shri Krishna goes on to explain a lot in detail about these different things. After he says, I'm going to reveal the truth, the Kshetra, the body, the Kshetra Jana, the knower of the body, the knower of the field to you. He wants you to know that the 5 great elements, all 5 elements, the false ego, the intelligence, Prakriti, which is the truth, the nature, the 11 senses, the 5 sense objects, desire, hatred, happiness, misery, the body, knowledge, and patience comprise a brief description of the Kshetra along with its mundane transformations. So he says within every being, within every field, there exists a bunch of things. We have the 5 great elements. We have the false ego. We have intelligence. We have our nature. What is our nature? What is our sense? What is our purpose in life? We have our senses. We have our 5 sense objects. We have desire. We have hatred. We have misery. But on the flip end, we have happiness. The body, all the knowledge, and the patience. Those are all things that briefly comprise the field. That person. If you try to explain the person, especially the mind of that person, you won't be able to do it in just one word, not one sentence. It's going to take a huge description. So he goes on to say that that's just a few things that comprise the Kshetra, the field. However, he wants you to know something very specific. So, what Bhagavan Shri Krishna starts here with is a brief description, say that these are only a few of the things that the body has. These are only a few of the things that the Kshetra has. He goes on to say that I'm going to tell you everything that I believe to be truthful, everything that I believe that the field needs to have to be appropriate, because everything else that the field will have I would consider to be ignorance or ignorant, or things that the field does not need. So what does the field, again, the field is our body. What does our body, what does our soul, what does our mind need in order to be successful? Bhagavan Shri Krishna, again, in verse 9, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 of chapter 13, goes on to say that these are the important components of the Kshetra, of that body, that make it so that it's truthful and not ignorant. He goes to tell Arjuna, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, 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 Amanitvam Adham Bhitvam Ahim Saksantir Arjavam Acharyopasanam Saucham Steryam Atma Vinigraham Indriyarati Suvairagyam Anahamkara Evacha Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi Dukhan Dosanudharasanam Asaktir Anhavisvanya Putra Dhara Grahadisu Nityam Chasam Chittatum Istanistom Papantisu Mai Chananya Yogena Bhaktir Auya Bhicharini Vivek Dhande Sasevitam Adhar Tirjana Samsadhi Adhyatmaj Jana Nitvam Tattvajnana Radhar Darsanam Ethajnanam Iti Proktam Ajnanam Yad Atonyata Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. So what does Bhagavan Shri Krishna tell Arjuna here? This is important. If you want to write this down, you're more than welcome to. But again, verses 8, 9, 10, and 11, 12 of chapter 13 is what Bhagwan Shri Krishna is saying, what each and every person, each and every kshetra, field, body, needs to have in order to be jnana, which is truthful, successful, in order to be filled with knowledge. So what does everybody need in order to be filled with knowledge? They have to know that there is no desire for honor. There is absolutely no desire for honor. We shouldn't go out and seek things to boost our ego, to make us be the best that we can be, essentially, to make us seem that that is our only focus in life, just to be the best. We have to have freedom from pride. Don't let your pride get hurt. Don't be too sensitive about some of the things that people are saying. Have freedom from pride. Be non-violent. Have forbearance. Simplicity. Be simple in life. Have service to a qualified guru, someone who can teach you the path of Dharma, righteousness. Have purity, both internally and externally. Wake up every morning. Clean yourself, shave, make yourself look respectable. But keep yourself internally pure. Try not to put terrible things inside your body. Maintain your diet. Bring in good words. Expel good words. Be pure. Have steadiness of mind. Be controlled in your thoughts. Don't lose control in a dire situation. Control of the body senses. Don't let that sweet smell coming from down in the kitchen make your stomach rumble and distract you from your goals. Detachment from the sense objects. Be able to pull yourself away whenever you need to. Don't judge people for doing that either, because detachment from the sense objects really means that you're focusing on your inner self, and that's important. Absence of that false ego. Constantly perceiving the misery of birth, death, old age, and disease. Understanding what these things are, how they relate to one another, and what we can do to support those in each one of those categories, those who are suffering from various illnesses and diseases, those who are just born, what we can do for them, those who are on the verge of death, those who have died, and those who are in old age. What can we do for all of these groups? Be detached from your children, your wife, your home, etc. Pull away from all of those things. Don't be absorbed in happiness and misery of others. Focus on yourself. Let them be them. Don't work hard to please all these other people in the world. That's not necessarily your job. Equanimity in attaining either favorable or unfavorable objects. So whether you get something good or you don't, you're equiposed. You're happy either way. Be one-pointed, steadfast, and unswerving in bhakti to me. So have steady devotion. Never have your faith broken. Never have your faith unbalanced. A liking for solitude. Someone who's able to go and recluse themselves for some time to focus. If you can tell me that you can sit down in a busy field and meditate and say that is helping you get to where you need to be, I guarantee you that you're not 100% honest with yourself. There's no way you can sit in an area filled with distractions and seclude yourself, at least not in today's day and age. We're not that dedicated. We're not that controlled. A distaste for the association of materialistic people. People who just like their materials. The newest Rolex that comes out. The best glasses. The fanciest car. Constant deliberation on knowledge of the self and on the purpose of tattvajnana. That is moksha. So having knowledge of yourself. What is your purpose? Focusing on your goals and attaining your goals. One of those biggest goals being jnana, tattvajnana, moksha, liberation from this material world. I consider all of this to be jnana. This is knowledge. This is what the kshetra needs. Everything else in your life, everything else that you may consider, that's ignorance. Now that's hard. It's a very hard concept to grasp, devotees. And most people don't grasp it until they're retired, until they're at the end of their lives. And why is that? Because we're so focused on the things we need to do. Serena and I live in this nice home. So what do we have to do? We have to work every day, and we have to focus on paying the mortgage, the electricity, the gas, the water, internet, our cell phone bills, having enough money for ourselves to buy groceries, to support our family. Having time to be here, to do work, to go out to temple, to serve the community, but also focus on ourselves. So why is it so hard to understand all of these things that he's saying is truth, is knowledge? It's because it's not easy. It's not easy. We're born with emotion. We're born with feelings. We're born with opinions. You try telling a child not to feel angry and see how well that goes down. You try telling an adult not to be angry and see how much more angrier that makes them. It's so hard for us to be so balanced in life. And chapter 13, when he talks about what makes you jnana, what makes you knowledgeable of the kshetra and the kshetrana, knowledge of the field, is the hardest thing, I think, for anybody to truly grasp and to truly have. I know I myself can't have steadiness of the mind. I myself don't control my body senses or detach myself from the sense objects. I think one of the worst things out there that I see for the young people, which doesn't help them control their senses, is that thing called ASMR, where it's something where it's supposedly very satisfying, like the squishing of slime or the cutting of soap. Yeah, it may help them focus on that, but it's not letting them detach from their senses, because what is it doing? It's doing the exact opposite. It's making them focus on their senses. And I, as an adult, I'm guilty of this. I'll watch some of those videos and be like, oh, that's satisfying. I'm relaxed. But it's not actually helping me attain my goal. It's not helping me do everything that I need to. We as humans are so distracted in life that we live in ignorance up until we can realize these various components, things that make us very jnana, knowledgeable of what kshetra is, what our body is, and how to live a happy and healthy life. We like to induce our stress with our lives with stress, even though we don't think we do. So I want you to take some time, devotees, over this next week. Go back into chapter 13. Read verses 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Read the translation. And try to check off as many of these things as you can. Now, don't do them all. If you try to do them all, you will fail. I love every single one of you. I love myself. I love every part of my family too. But if you try to accomplish every single one of these in one go, you will fail. I want to say that I have belief, but each one of these things is so hard that we need to take it bit by bit. Bhagavan Shri Krishna said that in the previous chapter. If you can't focus on me, do work in my name. If you can't do work in my name, be a good, calm, steady person. If you can't do that, remove yourself from everything. Focus, sit down and focus on one thing alone. You take it bit by bit, because how do we achieve a giant goal? How do we attain moksha? By taking it bit by bit by bit at a time. And then understanding, as he said at the end of chapter 12, although not in these specific words, but Bhagavan Shri Krishna says, whatever happens, happens. You be equiposed. You be okay no matter what happens. We end today with this last verse, devotees, in which Bhagavan Shri Krishna, after describing all of this jnana, all of this wisdom, says to Arjuna, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, 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 Shneyam Yattad Pravaksyami, Yajshnat Mumritam Asnute, Vanadhi Mat Param Brahma, Nasattanna Sar Uchyate, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Bhagavan Shri Krishna goes on to tell Arjuna, I'm now going to explain to you what Jnaya is. Now this isn't a word that we've heard before, because in the beginning we heard Prakriti, Purusa, Kshetra, Kshetrajna, Jnana, and we heard Jnaya. What is the object of knowledge? I said we haven't heard. We actually heard. So what is the object of knowledge? He goes on to say, by knowing what the object of knowledge is, by knowing this information, you will attain something that we'll talk about next week during our regular Sunday morning satsang. Prem se Bolo Krishna Chandra Bhagwan ki Jai. Before we conclude with our final prayers, devotees, I ask that you join together with me as we sing this very beautiful bhajan, focusing on Bhagwan Shri Krishna. I apologize if I mess up the tempo, but as we focus on Bhagwan Shri Krishna before we chant our closing prayers. Krishna Jina Naam Hai, Okhla Jina Naam Hai, Aisa Shri Bhagavan Ko, Aisa Shri Bhagavan Ko, Barambar Pranam hai, Barambar Pranam hai, Krishna Jinka Naam hai, Okula Jinka Naam hai, Yashoda Jinki mein aahe, Nanda ji bape aahe, Yashoda Jinki mein aahe, Nanda ji bape aahe, Is Shri Gopal ko, Is Shri Gopal ko, Barambar Pranam hai, Barambar Pranam hai, Krishna Jinka Naam hai, Okula Jinka Naam hai, Radha Jinki gaya hai, Krishna ji kanhe aahe, Radha Jinki gaya hai, Krishna ji kanhe aahe, Aisa Shri Jnana Shyama ko, Aisa Shri Jnana Shyama ko, Barambar Pranam hai, Barambar Pranam hai, Krishna Jinka Naam hai, Gokula Jinka Naam hai, Lutta Lutta Dhati Makan Kayo, Bala Bhala Sanghadi Chadhayo, Lutta Lutta Dhati Makan Kayo, Bala Bhala Sanghadi Chadhayo, Aisi Leela Dham ko, Aisi Leela Dham ko, Barambar Pranam hai, Barambar Pranam hai, Krishna Jinka Naam hai, Okula Jinka Naam hai, Aisa Shri Bhagavan ko, Aisa Shri Bhagavan ko, Barambar Pranam hai, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. At this time, devotees, I ask that you all join together with me. Sit in a very relaxed and comfortable position. Clasp your hands and close your eyes. Try to remove any chaotic thoughts that are going on. Take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, relax your shoulders, straighten your spine. Take some time to focus all of your energy and concentrate on a form of Bhagwan that is most pleasing to you, one that helps you focus. And join together with me as we chant these closing prayers. Om Sarvesham Swastim Bhavatu Sarvesham Shantim Bhavatu Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu Om Sarve Sukhino Bhavantu Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Bhashantu Ma Kaschita Bhagabhag Bhavet Om Mantrahinam Kriyahinam Bhaktihinam Janardanam Yatya Pujitam Maya Deva Paripurnam Dharastu Me Papoham Papu Karmaham Papo Atma Papu Sambhuva Trahimam Pundari Kaksham Sarva Papo Haro Hari Om Tvameva Mathascha Pita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhuscha Sakha Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravinam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Om Asatoma Sadgamaya Tamasuma Jyotirgamaya Mrityuma Mritam Gamaya Hari Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Om Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Deo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Om Dhyana Shanti Antariksham Om Shanti Prithvi Shanti Apa Shanti Aushadhya Shanti Vanispati Shanti Vishwadeva Shanti Brahma Shanti Sarve Om Shanti Shanti Reva Shanti Sama Shanti Devi Hari Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tatsat Prem se bolo Ganesh Bhagwan ki Jai Prem se bolo आदि शक्ति दुर्गा माता की जय प्रेम से बोलो नवग्रह देवता की जय प्रेम से बोलो विष्णु भगवान की जय प्रेम से बोलो शिव शंकर भगवान की जय प्रेम से बोलो शिव शक्ति मंदिर की जय प्रेम से बोलो सनातन धर्म की जय. Devotees, with this we have come to the end of our Sunday morning satsang, and I'd like to thank each and every one of you for being here with us today. Just as a few and quick announcements, as you all know, the vaccine for COVID-19 is currently being rolled out. And for those who aren't aware, the 1A category is now including teachers. So those who are educators are now allowed to get the vaccine. For those of you who haven't been able to actually sign up, if you go to the state health page to look and see where places are offering the vaccine, CVS and Walgreens are doing it at select locations. Ingles, Kroger, and Publix are also doing it. You just go to their websites, you can sign up. You can also look for different state areas that are signing up and doing COVID vaccines at different locations. I know for my job, we have 3 big locations. If you're a Piedmont patient, you can sign up and do it for that too. So as these vaccines continue to roll out, I ask that you do continue to be careful and be patient with those who are working to administer these vaccines. I can tell you from a first-hand perspective, it is a very rewarding job to do, but it's also very taxing, and it can become a little bit stressful depending on the emotions of people that are there and their feelings and what things they kind of say. So please be patient with those who are administering the vaccines. Please be patient with those frontline healthcare workers that are continuously and tirelessly working day after day to make sure that we as a population can be as healthy and as safe as possible. With that being said, devotees, I do want to move on to some nicer and happier news. So before I move on to our birthdays and anniversaries, I want to say Jai Sita Ram to Sister Priya, who says Hari Om, everyone, and to Auntie Zandra and Uncle Rajan. Thank you all for tuning in. I see you chatted up top. I do know that for some of you, you have some information that you'd like to share with me and send to me to put onto our Sunday morning service. I was a little busy this week, but if you have a song or a speech that you'd like to say, record, please send it my way. We'll go ahead and introduce them to the Sunday morning satsang. Additionally, on top of that, devotees, I do want to talk about a few different things that we've got going on this month. First and foremost, we had our Shivratri Puja, and that occurred on Thursday, March 11th. So for those of you who aren't actually able to tune in live, it's still recorded. It's on YouTube. You're more than welcome to go back and look at that. And then on Saturday, March 27th is the burning of Holika, and Sunday, March 28th is actual Holi or Phagwa itself. We will not be meeting for that. It's going to be too risky. I mean, if you imagine a powder like a sneeze, all those air particles will be flying around, sticking on people's clothes. So we will not be meeting in person, but we will still have a special service for that day to discuss exactly what Holi is and why it exists. So that is Saturday, March 27th, which is the burning of Holika, and Sunday, March 28th, which is Holika itself. And I'll make some more announcements about some upcoming events in April next week. From our president, we want to say Sita Ram to everybody. There were no birthdays to celebrate this week, but we did have two couples that celebrated anniversaries. So to Auntie Jane and Uncle Mike Sukraj, happy anniversary to you both. And to Auntie Gloria and Uncle Moses, happy anniversary to you both as well. To everybody who's watching, again, thank you for your support, continued support. Thank you for being here with us. Thank you for everything that you're doing for us, for the community. Remember to check in on each other, make sure we're all safe, make sure we're all doing happy and healthy. Feel free to reach out to myself or anybody on our executive board at any time. But I hope you all have a safe, wonderful, happy, and healthy week. We'll see you again next Sunday for our regular Sunday morning satsang. Jai Sita Ram.